when it hurts like this.
Ralph Perou is a British fashion photographer who usually takes pictures of celebrities. This time, however, he tried something different. Instead of people, he took pictures of cats. And we're not talking about furry little tabbies. We're talking about big cats, jaguars, tigers, leopards, and lions. The photographer took the pictures in the Big Cat Sanctuary in Kent and says the purpose of the project was to raise awareness of these animals' vulnerability in the wildlife. Most people photograph big cats from a distance in daylight, for good reason, so I decided to enter the lion's den, literally not metaphorically, and set up a photo studio there to photograph these magnificent animals the same way I would photograph a rock star or a fashion model, said the photographer in a recent interview with Bored Panda. He says that unlike people, big cats let you know exactly how they feel. There is no pretense, said Perou. I initially offered to photograph all the cats at BCS, not realizing how challenging the project would be, said the photographer. Perou said that during the first 6 months, he photographed the animals almost every week and would come home without any pictures. I was hugely demoralized and thought, actually, this is never going to happen, admitted the photographer. However, eventually, the animals began associating the photographer with feeding time and became calmer around him, allowing him to take their portraits. I wanted to show what characters these cats are and how incredibly beautiful and magnificent they are, said Perou. Maya, the jaguar, almost did not make it after her mother was unable to feed her following her birth in July 2017. The jaguar cub was dehydrated and weak, which led to the decision to hand-rear her. Maya appeared on the BBC's Big Cats About the House, and is an ambassador for the protection of her wild cousin. Jaguars are also much more heavily built than the leopard, with a longer face and much more prominent sagittal crest, giving the head a distinctly pointed top. Unlike many of the other cat species, jaguar are not averse to water and are actually very good swimmers. They have the strongest bite of all the big cats, exerting a bite pressure of approximately 1,500–2,000 pounds per square inch, depending on source material. Jaguars are the largest cat species found within South America. As with the majority of the big cats, they are solitary and only really socialize with others for breeding purposes. There are slight variations in the color of the coat, with black individuals being relatively common. These all-black cats are often incorrectly referred to as black panthers. The coat coloration is very similar to that of a leopard, but there is a difference in the rosettes, which in the jaguar have small black dots in the center. The photographer got to know her very well. She loves human interaction and was very difficult to photograph because she is always rubbing up against the fence to have someone scratch her back or tickle her. She had to go back to be photographed, no lens shoots that close. Narnia was born in French circus. She needed a home, so came to live at Paradise Wildlife Park as a partner for resident their Amur tiger Rocky. They are no longer able to live together, so Narnia came to WHF, the Big Cat Sanctuary. Narnia very quickly became a firm favorite with guests. She is very happy to participate in photography workshops and loves to drape herself over the platform in the perfect pose. She can be a naughty madam and likes to chew at the mesh and wind up Nias, who lives in the enclosure next to her own. The worst habit she has at present is having a poo in her pond, which the keepers then have to fish out. Very interactive, she loves to destroy cardboard boxes, chase boomer balls and play tug of war with her food. A fantastic cat who is also a very important ambassador for us in helping to educate guests about the dangers of breeding white tigers and the subsequent health defects that can occur. White tigers are white Bengals, they are not albino, they have blue eyes, are not a separate subspecies and are born to tigers that carry an unusual double recessive gene causing the lack of pigmentation. Rarely seen in the wild, one in approximately every 10,000, and only seen in the Bengal tiger subspecies. Cheesy. Cheesy was born at Helsinki Zoo in Finland in 2005 and came to WHF, the Big Cat Sanctuary, in 2007, at around 2 years old. She has produced 2 sets of 2 cubs since being with us. In 2008, she bred with Artur and gave birth to 2 male cubs, Argan and Anwi. Being strong climbers, they take a kill up a tree to eat alone. The main prey species of the Amur leopard are roe and sika deer along with hares and badgers. She also produced 2 cubs with Hogar in 2012. Cheesy is easily recognizable by the marking behind her left eye, which is in the shape of a perfect love heart. Estimated that around only 60 Amur leopards remain in the wild, surviving on a dedicated conservation area in Russia, west of Vladivostok, the Primorsky Krai. This is the world's most endangered big cat. Reaching speeds of 37 miles per hour and able to leap 20 feet horizontally and 10 feet vertically, they are formidable predators, giving a suffocating vice-like grip to the throat. Keen. Bajrami, Keen, and Martin were born in a litter of 8 at Borås Zoo in Sweden, where they shared their enclosure with the zoo's group of rhino. All 3 brothers are part of the stud book for southern cheetahs, so we will hopefully be using them for breeding in the future. Keen is the darkest and often gets very distracted in training. He likes to focus on more than one keeper during his training. In the wild, the cheetah is a very prolific breeder and can have litters of up to 9 or 10 young. This is mostly to combat the very high mortality rate that cheetah youngsters suffer due to predation from other carnivores, along with the fact that cheetah cannot afford to be confrontational and will often have to choose flight, in a fight or flight situation. Bajrami, Keen, and Martin were born in a litter of 8 at Borås Zoo in Sweden, where they shared their enclosure with the zoo's group of rhino. Very different in appearance and character, they are all very lovely cats. Bajrami is the lightest in weight and most confident of the 3 and is always happy to come in the house for a chat. With a completely different body shape to the other felids, cheetahs neither fit into the big cat, or small cat categories and as such belong to their own genus Acinonyx. Often mistaken for leopards, the cheetah has a very different body shape, being very narrow and lightweight with long slender limbs. Along with this, the coat is covered in single spotted markings, very unlike the leopard's heavily rosetted coat. Paired with their distinctive teardrop facial markings, the cheetah are one of the most easily identifiable felids. They are currently the world's fastest land mammals, capable of reaching speeds of up to 68 miles per hour with a stride of 7 meters. Nias. Nias was born at Tierpark, Berlin to parents Santana and Morris, in 2003. He came to WHF, the Big Cat Sanctuary, at a year old and was introduced to breeding partner Puna in late 2007. The following year, they had their first offspring, 2 boys, Asu and Bawa. In 2011, these were followed by 2 more sons, Toba and Kubu. Nias is a very handsome cat who has a disliking for the summer heat but enjoys regular hosepipe showers from the keeping team. The Sumatran tiger is the smallest of the tiger subspecies. They have a very characteristic dark orange coat, with very thin, closely packed stripes. As with all tiger species, these stripes are as unique to each individual, as our fingerprints are to us. Around the face is a long white ruff of fur, more often seen in males than females. As their name suggests, the Sumatran tiger's native habitat is the Indonesian island of Sumatra. The main threat to the wild Sumatran tiger population is the increasing palm oil trade. The tigers need continual blocks of forest in which to thrive, as being a solitary species this is their only way of meeting breeding individuals. The traditional medicine trade is another problem that faces the wild population, with the demand for bones and body parts showing no signs of slowing down. The author has told Bored Panda that, for some unknown reason, Nias the Sumatran tiger really didn't like the look, smell, sound of me. Maybe I reminded him of someone who was unkind to him before. For months, visiting every week, I would just have to appear near his den and he would start hissing at me, staring me out with angry eyes. Nowadays, Nias is much friendlier to his photographer. Nias now lets me feed him but still likes me to know he's the boss, so he'll still give me a low grumble sometimes. Manzi. The lions at WHF, the Big Cat Sanctuary, show many of the behaviors they would in the wild. Typically 16 to 20 plus HRS a day will be spent sleeping. Lions will not expend energy unless they have to. When they are active they can be seen walking along the edges of their enclosure. This is simply territorial pacing, normal behavior in which males will walk around the edges of their territory. The 2 brothers will also carry out social interactions such as grooming one another and roaring. Our males will roar together most evenings and early mornings. Manzi is the blondest of the brothers and a complete teddy bear. Manzi has now gone very blonde due to the fact he is now alone and has no dominance issues or the companionship of other male lions. He is very chatty to keepers and loves to come over first thing in the morning and the last thing of an evening. However, once the food is within his sight he changes to a very different cat. The 3 brothers, Manzi, Kafara, and Tiny, were born at Woburn Safari Park to a female that was unable to care for them due to her milk production stopping. They were taken to PWP to be hand-reared at 19 days old by the keepers there. At this time, one of the cubs was slightly smaller and weaker than the other 2, so it was nicknamed Tiny. He pulled through and is now only slightly smaller than his brothers, approximately 10 kg lighter. Throughout his time at WHF, the Big Cat Sanctuary, he has had several gut operations, so we now have to monitor carefully what he eats and ensure he doesn't get too much mane, hair in his meals. We've asked which of the cats he liked the most during his time there. The Amur leopard, Cheesy, that I photographed here, is one of only 77 left in the whole world. She is the most beautiful animal I have seen in person. He also liked his experience with Manzi, the old lion. He was quite a chap. He lives with a harem of 6 lionesses who keep him busy. He's big and his roar is so loud. Speaking of powerful roars, Narnia has also made an impression. Narnia the white tiger is a serene lady most of the time. She wants to be friends with the brown tigers, but they hate her because she's different. And did you know that cheetahs can't be called big cats because they can't roar? They sound pretty cute, actually. The photographer has also expressed some concerns about these cats' wild counterparts. These cats are ambassadors for their endangered wild cousins. They are in a sanctuary for rescued cats that would not survive in the wild and are also part of a breeding program to protect animals, species from extinction caused primarily by humans. The author was also extremely modest about his work. As good as my pictures are, it would be terrible if all we had left in the world were some nice pictures of extinct animals that we managed to wipe out in our lifetimes. I'm just a photographer, professionally, I just press a button, but this was something I could do to raise awareness about endangered cats in the world and raise a little money for the cats at the sanctuary. He summed his work up pretty well. We've got to save the world, including ourselves, but we've gotta save the cats too. Big love to all at the Big Cat Sanctuary who do brilliant work.